Aloha no kako, and in the Hawaiian language, that means greeting to you all. My name is Keoni Alvarez, and I'm just going to be kind of just talking a little bit about filmmaking. Well, I'm a filmmaker for a long time. Ever since I got out of high school, I did filmmaking. One of the most best places that I like to be in is in the studio. I never realized how important the studio is, and then also the messages that you can create within a studio. Being in the studio, I had the opportunity to teach many different students, and my students range from elementary school straight up. My oldest student is 89 years old. Teaching my classes, I just try to be real with everyone. But for me, that's what kind of sets me apart. A lot of my training that I've got, I've traveled all around the world, learning from different filmmakers and directors and also producers. And when I'm teaching my students, I teach them with my experience of the things that I learn. A lot of things that you have to do as a filmmaker is you got to be really quick on your feet and to figure out and troubleshoot different things when it comes and arise. And that's part of my experience, is learning all that stuff and being successful in where I'm at today, of having the opportunity to teach students, to see them entering film festivals, to see them winning film festivals, to see them acting and being in their own productions or being in someone else's productions and telling me their experiences. That's the most awesome thing, is to see my students grow. One thing about filmmaking, and a lot of filmmakers know this, is that it's always evolving. It would be kind of dumb for you to think that it's always going to stay the same. And my teaching skill is not just from the textbooks or learning about the books. I want to share with them real life experiences of, if you're a filmmaker, it's not easy. And that's the first thing that I always tell my students, is that when you're learning about filmmaking, or if you want to be in something like this, even if it's a YouTube video or being in social media and things, it's work. Nobody's going to edit your piece for you. Nobody's going to take out every single day to film you and hear your message. Also, when you look at most of the social media people who made their videos go viral, it's only short term. When I help my students, I'm looking for not short term or just for a viral video. It's to make it long lasting and knowing how to reinvent yourself. But if you're a filmmaker and you know how to edit and you know how to filmmake, and you as a person can always make that change, and it's no problem. A lot of times when you don't have that control as a filmmaker, you lose that because you're depending on somebody else to create you. And that's the whole thing that I want to teach my students, is always to believe in yourself. That's the main thing, is believing in yourself that you can do anything. And the only people who's going to bring change is you. Only you. You're the only one that's going to be able to change your image. You're the only one who's going to share your message and let everybody know how important it is to you, and bring change. It's all about sharing your message. For me, when people want to say they want to be filmmakers, they don't realize what they're really saying, because filmmaking is like giving birth. It's actually like a dedication. I have never given birth, but it's a dedication to your project. And sometimes it's going to take years. It's not going to be 8 or 9 months. Sometimes projects can be 5, 6 years, 8 years, 10 years, 15 years to complete a project. It depends on you and how important it is to you and what kind of message you want to share. The only person can say to end it is you. A lot of people can say, is it done yet? Is it done yet? But the only real person that really can say it's done is you. You are the artist. Just like any artwork, nobody tells an artist, oh, it's done already. Filmmaking is the same thing. It's you are the artist. And one thing about filmmaking, it's all different type of media. You're talking about painting a picture with people, images, and words. For me, I can set myself apart really quick when I can hear somebody that they say they want to be a filmmaker, and really seeing the kind of product that they put out and the effort that they put into it. And one thing about here in Hawaii is that it's run differently here. Everybody knows each other, and it's not about filmmaking and getting the quality piece of, that you can get everywhere. But here in Hawaii, it's all about networking, and it's all about connection with people, sharing your story, in a pono way, in a good way, working together. In the United States, you can always burn bridges. Over here, there's only few bridges you can burn, and then you're not going to be able to get across. That's the reality of it. So it's just watching what you do with people, and that's what I want to teach in my classes. Is I'm sharing with them about lighting, sharing them about sounds, sharing about working with people. Those are pretty much the basics of what you have to do. And then also with the camera work of the angles and how you're going to shoot it and why are you shooting it that way. I will be just happy to see my student create one great historical piece that we can always remember. You have all these great films, and it's not necessarily, that you have to make a lot to be known. You just have to come up with one good concept of a film, and you will be really well known. I mean, you got The Color Purple, you got the Titanic, you got the Goodfellas. You got so much good, iconic movies out there, but what you have to do is you have to do it well. And that's what I want to share with people. And I'm happy I'm back home, because now I can really kind of share, with all the places that I've been to and traveled, and the people that I met, of directors and producers, of helping me even to shape my own films. When I came back home, I wanted to use those tools that were shared with me to other filmmakers, and I want them to be successful in whatever they're going to do. And success meaning that it's not to make a lot of money. Success is meaning completing a project that you work really hard on. And that's one thing that I share with all my students, is that make sure you finish your project before you start another. Because if you can't finish the first one, you're not going to be able to finish the next one and the next one and the next one after that. Work on one good one and then continue on. And that's growth. That's how you grow. But if you're going to do all these shortcuts, you won't be a successful filmmaker, especially here in Hawaii. I treat an 8-year-old as just as much as I could treat the 9-year-old. Because if the 8-year-old can understand, so can the 9-year-old. So what that tells me is that I'm reaching all different age groups, all different nationalities of people. And that is the goal. For me, my goal is not to boast about myself of all the things that I've accomplished. I want to make sure that the filmmaker is expressing their true self on screen. Especially if they're the director, I want them to make sure to hang on to their vision. Never let anybody sway you, because in this business, you can have a lot of people that can sway you and say, oh no, that's not the right thing. But you know what? You have to stick with what your vision is. And if it's going to take years, and if it's going to take another shoot to do it, then wait. And as a filmmaker, you never stop learning. And I will never say that I learned everything, because I haven't. But that's the fun part. The fun part about this whole thing is learning about it, trying it out, seeing if it works, what doesn't work. That's what I like about it. It's challenging. When somebody can watch a film and forget that you're actually teaching them, that's how you know you're doing a good job. And that's how you know that you're really crafting your project. And if anybody tells you that you're doing a good job, it's a compliment. And you should take that well, but it shouldn't go to your head and you float out of America and you're gonna make like you're the best. Because I'm gonna let you know this. Once that happens and you think you're the best, that's the downfall of your career. Always be humble. Treat everybody with respect. Teach everybody that you can with honesty and care and love and aloha. And when you're teaching them because you care about their project. You care about them as a person. And you're there to help them and mentor them and shape them so that when they are the teachers, they also shape other filmmakers in a good way. And that's what I'm trying to do, is trying to teach my students to film with aloha. Also, I want to say is that when the kupunas give you the stories to share, make sure you're going to share it. If you're not sincere about documenting somebody's story, then don't do it. Don't take up their time to film them, for them to get ready and be prepared, knowing that you're not going to really complete it. Because somebody else can ask them and be dedicated to be filming them and share their story. And when they share their story, they'll give 100%. Because sometimes when people share their story the first time, they give 100%, they see nothing happen, and another person asks them, and then they give 50%. So the story, the life, I should say, not the story, but the life of the story will change. So whenever we ask our kupuna, ask our grandparents or whatever, I want to learn about your story, really be sincere that you really want to learn from them. They're giving you this gift so that others can learn from it. And it's a big responsibility. In Hawaiian, we call it kuleana. That's what it's all about, responsibility and trust. I love people when they look at my film and critique it. I think the best thing that you can do as a filmmaker is to accept feedback and don't fight it. That makes you willing to reinvent yourself. Sometimes you edit so long that you marry to your project. You can't see it but this angle. But your feedback is the most important. I don't recommend feedback as you're going through the process of editing your scenes. But if you did take a good crack at it, a good chunk of it, then by all means, let somebody look at it. And get somebody who's maybe not the same race as you. Get somebody who's maybe not interested in your subject, because that's your audience. Your audience are the people who's really not interested. And if you're a good filmmaker, by telling a story to get someone who's not interested, that's a good filmmaker. That's a good storyteller. And that's what I want to share with people. And part of that is I'm still learning myself to teach or to share my story and hope that my message comes through. But the only way that will happen is that you as a filmmaker, you as an actor or whatever, is going to have to be real with the audience. You're going to have to believe it. And that's the only way that you're going to have less criticism about your film, because it's coming from a true and honest place. And that is storytelling.